Chapter 43, Final Outcome and Subsidiary Features 2. And Zhao Soxui was silent. She then handed Zhu Tun another notice. This is the final outcome of the Wuxia Genetic Committee's decision on Liu Tianhu. Zhu Tun scanned through the report. The first was to remove him from his position as the commander of the Jincheng Prefecture's Preparatory Defense Force. Second, the Wuxia Genetic Committee had investigated the incident that day. Based on the handling process, there were no problems with Liu Tianhu's actions. Liu Tianhu transferred the problem to the intelligence staff for a general summary of the situation. There were no problems with the procedure. However, Liu Tianhu, who was in charge of the military, had slacked off and was mainly responsible for the incident. He was demoted 3 ranks to become a major and was about to be transferred to a logistics unit or a different line of work. Third, the final outcome of Liu Tianhu. Liu Tianhu did not want to transfer to a logistics unit or even a different line of work in such a humiliating manner. He proactively applied to be demoted to serve in an intergalactic frontline unit and become a lieutenant. In the final outcome, most of the intelligence staff and his guards who were related to Liu Tianhu would follow him to the intergalactic battlefield to serve. Zhu Tui was silent after he read the report. Was this satisfying? No, it's not. Many people had died because Liu Tianhu had been careless and disregardful. His punishment was only to be demoted by 3 ranks. Even though it was very difficult to get promoted in the military, and every advancement required substantial contribution points. But in the end, Liu Tianhu voluntarily got demoted and fought in the front line of the intergalactic battlefield. But was that enough? It did not seem like it's enough. The death rate of the frontline troops in the intergalactic battlefield was as high as 20%. They are risking their lives. So he should pay with his life. But was that enough? That seemed to be enough. Secondly, the number 14 Research Institute of the Genetic Research Institute is led by my teacher, the Dean of the School of Enlightened Mind. However, he is not around at the moment. He'll temporarily preside over the meeting. The School of Enlightened Mind is a little unique. Even though there are many people in the school, not many of them have the ability to participate in the research. You're barely considered as one who has the ability to participate. Oh yeah, I might be very busy or out on official business sometimes. There are some simple matters that I need your help with. From today on, you are a trainee assistant at the number 14 Research Institute. Remember to get your certificate when you go out later. It's mainly physical labor, research waste, and research materials that you have to transport into the warehouse. I also need you to sort those research materials out and place them in the files. There will be a list later. Do you have any problems with that? And Zhao Soxui said. Zhu Tui could only nod. She was indeed a researcher. And she was barely using him. As a benefit, you will receive a level E energy restoration potion every month. You can ask me any questions you have. Zhu Tui immediately became energetic when he heard this. A level E energy restoration potion every month costs $5,000. That was pretty good treatment. If possible, Zhu Tui needed more of these kinds of research missions. The third matter is regarding your study plan or choice. And Zhao Xu's words immediately made Zhu Tui pricked up his ears. He even put down the glass of water in his hand. Why did he come to the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College? Why did he insist on coming to the School of Enlightened Mind? Why did he not switch to the School of General Senses? It was all for this moment. He had to obtain Zhao Xu's personal guidance. Do you know what's the most important thing about genetic newcomers in the mystery branch? And Zhao Soxui asked. The most important thing to a mystery branch genetic newcomer. Genetic abilitant. And Zhao Xu shook her head. Number of genetic base points. And Zhao Soxui shook her head again. Mind, this time, and Zhao Soxui nodded. More accurately, it should be mind power. The usage of any genetic ability is based on mind power. Furthermore, mind power is also a genetic ability, and Zhao Soxui explained. Zhu Tui did not understand what she meant. And Zhao Soxui casually tossed out a handful of silver pills. She glared slightly, and the 30-odd silver pills started to move irregularly in the hall. An ear-piercing sound pierced through the air. Miraculously, however, the 30-odd silver pills did not touch anything in the research hall even though they were doing random activities. In the next instant, and Zhao Saxui shifted her gaze again. Over 30 silver pills instantly gathered from all directions and formed a small silver ball. Zhu Tui's mind is filled with one word: collect. I didn't have any genetic abilities back then either. However, when a person's mind power reached a certain level, it would become a mysterious ability that was not inferior to the superbs. However, mind power can't be seen or touched. Currently, other than the most primitive way of training it, it is very difficult to quickly enhance it. There were too many genetic base points in the brain. Humans, be it in the extreme branch or the mystery branch, had come up with countless cultivation techniques during their research. However, in terms of mind power, the most widely used methods of training and activating genetic base points were the most primitive methods. Many of the secret techniques that allowed for the activation of mind power genetic base points had unique training requirements. They were also not universal. Take the genetic base point activation technique for mind power, for example. The first requirement is microsenses. Microsenses has a subsidiary characteristic. It is called introspection. Zhu Tui's heart skipped a beat when he heard the words inspection. Darn it, the secret that he had been fearful of for a long time was not a secret in front of Zhao Saxui. She had long known that he could use introspection. Basically, those who have microsenses can examine their bodies. Furthermore, the ability of introspection was something that only an extremely small number of genetic evolvers or a small number of genetic transmuters could obtain.